The XFL Gambling Podcast Week 7 preview and picks episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET's now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET is what you need to win. Bet $100, get $100 at WynnBET.com or download the WynnBET app and start winning today. State restrictions apply. We're also brought to you by Sports Gambling Podcast Final Four Watch Party. Yes, this Saturday. Come sweat out your bets and win prizes with Stacking the Money Green, Real Money Kramer, and myself. For both games, will be live on YouTube, youtube.com/Sports Gambling Podcast. Plus, make sure you fill out our listener survey for a chance to win a $100 SGPN gift card. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/survey. And remember, as always, to let it ride.
Spinning the iPads of steel, DJ Dundee.
No
Here we
SGPN.
go.
Is this or is this not the XFL? Yes, it is. Do I or do I not currently have a pulse? Yes, I do. Let's play football. This is
Welcome to the XFL Gambling Podcast Week 7 preview and picks episode. Soundboard had some adjustments, so things are everywhere. All right, things are everywhere. I feel like I'm the Orlando Guardian sending out 10 on a punt block scheme here. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, well, my name is Colby Database Dant, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
Yes! Struggling, finding my way to the night of the soundboard. I'm excited. Week 7, we got a lot of news. Apparently, the league just wants to help out certain franchises. Just say, hey, we think you can win it all with these guys. We'll talk about it. I am joined by my co-host, the host of the Bottom Line Bombs podcast, which you should be subscribed to. They call him the man in the box. And let me tell you, he is more than that to me because he is...
He's the kind of guy that would drink a gallon of gasoline so he could piss in your campfire. You could drop this guy off at the Arctic Circle wearing a pair of bikini underwear without his toothbrush, and tomorrow afternoon he's going to show up at your poolside with $1 million smile and a fistful of pesos.
I give you CJ Sullivan. How you doing, brother?
Yes, DJ Dundee. Always coming through. The timing's bit off today.
Story of my life.
Little codeine in that LaCroix, maybe. Got you a little bit loopy, but you delivered the goods, and there's so much news to talk about.
A lot of news to talk about. That's why we brought on this guy. We found him, and look, we had ads for him. He was on the back of a few milk cartons in Iowa. All right, we were looking for him on the last episode. He was running. You know, some say it was his wife's birthday, but I've heard that excuse a million times. All right, give it up for the host of the Old Fashioned Football Podcast, which you should be subscribed to as well. We call him Liquid Lunch here on the XFL Gambling Podcast. Give it up for Justin Mark, a.k.a. JMark. How you doing, man?
Doing fantastic. How about you guys?
Great to have you back. Let's address that immediately before we get into it, because it caused some heated words in the Slack and some anger. Now, you were not at the recap show, which is fine. You said that it was JMark wifey's birthday. So he says, as he says, even missed on the NFL show. We heard from our other sources. That's how committed he was to ducking Colby on the show after your defenders destroyed the Roughnecks, and
it's like when you're in a bar fight, you say, "Meet me outside in 5 minutes," and no one shows up. You know what I mean? No one shows up. Look, a couple weeks ago, and you know me, I'm big into myself. I like to, big ego. Love to reflect on my ego, and a couple weeks ago, a lot of those internet heroes were coming at me, saying I don't know football. But God damn it, did I flush the toilet on those fools?
I don't like how, and we've converted all these Reddit trolls and Facebook trolls that came after you, and we just put them on JMark. Now JMark represents them. So you were dodging him.
I hopped into some of those, and I saw some of Kramer's messages saying Colby thinks the Roughnecks are the third best team. Well, how am I looking now? How am I looking now, buddy? All right.
Oh, so he was waving the flames. He was stoking the fire, if you will. Okay. All right. Well, then maybe you were ducking him. Throwing a little whiskey on the fire.
Always.
Our rankings look great. Houston is plummeting.
Yeah, I mean, JMark, I want your opinion on the final week, or not the final week, last week, where you were not, you were not active. What'd you make of the games? And before we get to the news,
yeah, it was interesting how some of them played out. I know a lot of people wanted to blame the refs for that DC Houston game, but let's be honest, I don't think the refs altered it that much. There were some really bad calls, don't get me wrong, but I don't think the refs
they were whooping their ass. I mean, they held them to like 12 yards in the second quarter. You know what I mean?
They didn't influence the outcome, though. I do think Sean's got a great opportunity on all the XFL shows to say that one ref needs sword vitality, because it's pretty soft throwing a flag on a guy. He squirted water on me. That guy's a little soft.
Look, it was so great that he was mic'd up, though. Look, as much as I've shit on them for micing up everybody, like, I don't care about all these people. And to me, it's just information overload. It's like, okay, I don't care that they're going to run a trap on this play. You know what I mean?
I know. It's like the inside of a car, with the direct, Alexa telling you the directions and the radio. Like, not so much commotion. There's already people in the car talking, and there's already machines talking, and not like every sound. Everybody doesn't need to be mic'd up.
I think less is more. I think less is more, and I think this goes for the USFL, the XFL, all this shit. We're trying to be super transparent. Only on the calls. Like, if it only, I do like the transparency with the refereeing, like on a challenge. Or, a turnover or something. I like that. I don't need to hear the plays. I don't need to hear in-game interviews of players. And I feel like we're in the majority here. Everyone I've talked to says, like, no, it's too much. But it did give us a gem with, no, he squirted water on him.
The water moment was great. And I also loved, of course, when he's like, should we kick him out? Yeah, sure. Let's kick him out. Fuck it. He was a little low. Why not? It'll be fun.
The one ref. Let's make an example out of number one. Let's make an example out of him. Like, what does that mean? My other takeaway from last week, Battlehawks beat the Vipers down. Now, obviously, I'm a Battlehawks fan, but I am glad they did that because, Colby, you asked if you were an idiot for taking Vegas, and I felt bad for saying yes. I would have felt worse had Vegas won, because then I was just calling you an idiot for fun, not because
they were right there. Man.
Yeah, well, we felt dumb.
No, they were not right.
No.
I was thinking of the Orlando one.
No, we're right there.
I felt very humiliated taking Vegas, and that line went off at 2. By the way, like
I'll never take
4 and came down to 2. It seemed obvious, and then once it got to 2, I'm like, oh, this is a St. Louis Battlehawk bounce back game. It was obvious as soon as it started.
Well, I'll put it like this, folks, and we want you to stay subscribed, tuning in every week, but I'm never taking Vegas again.
Well, I tell you what, the game was so decimating that it turned their whole organization upside down. They're trading quarterbacks, they're signing quarterbacks, and throwing them out there.
I've watched
they're doing everything but playing their NFL quarterback.
I've watched, I watch almost, I try to watch as much as I can college football, 131 teams. I try to watch as much FCS football as I can, and I think most people can attest that come to the studio how much I watch, or even D2, D3, ELF, NFL Europe, Original World League. I mean, I've watched a shit ton of football in my life, and my just overall analysis of the Vegas Vipers is I don't believe they're trying to win.
I mean,
I don't believe they watch film. I don't believe they watch film.
It's
like
I can tout this because it became true, but if you remember our preseason rankings, I had them at number 10 out of 8. Now, it was because of a vendetta, but it's looking true, right? I mean,
that vendetta might have been.
I guess so. I mean, I don't know.
So
I don't get this Perez treatment they had. I mean, yes, he had a bad game, but I mean,
yeah. I have Luis Perez, folks.
Not get him out of the city bad. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Honestly,
he played a couple of great games before that.
Dude, if you were to rate the quarterbacks of this league thus far, I mean, I would be a bit perplexed if you did not have Perez in the top 3.
Yeah, he's at least the top 3, right? And Vegas doesn't even think he's a top 3 on their team.
Like, maybe you can make the case McCarron's. I kind of think Perez is better personally, but maybe you can make the case Tamu. Right. I personally think Perez has been more consistent. Maybe you can make the case of well, I mean, I guess I don't know. After that, I feel like you can kind of. I think he's a top 3 quarterback in the XFL.
Yeah.
Would you guys agree? I mean, look, I know JMark hates Luis Perez.
It's questionable. You just mentioned 3 that are better. McCarron.
I don't know that I think McCarron's. I think
McCarron's better. Danucci's better.
Really?
And
Danucci throws a lot of time.
He's better than Luis Perez for crying
I think
out
you
loud,
put Perez on St. Louis.
Yeah.
They have the same record, if not better.
Well, yeah, he doesn't have the story though. He doesn't have the kids who wanted to watch him.
Learned on YouTube.
Right? You need that doesn't play in St. Louis. It doesn't play with the JMarks of the world.
JMark, where would you have Luis Perez as XFL quarterbacks go?
I think he's around 4th.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 or 5. Either way.
Yeah.
You should not get this treatment that he just got.
Well, how about this? He gets traded.
Right.
You know, if folks aren't aware, he gets traded to the Arlington Renegades. So he doesn't have to move or anything. They're all in Arlington.
Right.
But he gets traded for a linebacker, Ryan Mueller.
Okay. He must be a stud linebacker.
No.
The trader starting.
Turns out.
What's that? He's not.
Turns out he's never played.
Never played. What's that?
I mean,
well,
is this rigged? This is like David Stern.
Well,
the draft lottery envelopes are cold.
No,
they're cold. They got Patrick Ewing.
No, Cole, let's not get so suspicious just yet. I don't think it's rigged because maybe they just wanted to clear room for Hundley so there'd be no distractions and he could just start the rest of the way and be the starter. He's the highest paid player in the league.
Nope.
They paid him premium. So that's what they're doing, right?
No, they're not doing that either because we thought that yesterday, but you know one thing about these spring leagues, you shouldn't be thinking.
Vegas certainly isn't.
Because they announced today that the starting quarterback, this is the Vegas Viper Twitter handle.
Okay. They
have activated Jalen McClendon, and he will be the starter. Jalen McClendon.
What?
Folks, I cover college football. I host the College Football Experience. I've been a diehard college football fan for a very long time. This guy was not good in college. I mean, look, he was all right.
Yeah.
He started probably like 5 games. Let me actually pull up his passing numbers in college.
He went to Baylor, right?
Well, he's an NC State guy first, so you know he's definitely not very good. And his career, 1 start in college. 1 start. He did make 9 appearances in games. Threw 4 touchdowns and 7 interceptions for his career.
Okay. All right. Well, he'll make a perfect Viper. I mean, I cannot believe. I just can't believe it. They finally cleared room for Hundley to play. Okay. And then they announced before he even gets to play. Nope. You're on a bench. We're going to see what this kid can do. And if you look at their Twitter handle, let's see what the young kid can do for the future. Future? This is the XFL. It's 1 week at a time, baby. Let's get this thing done.
Look, Luis Perez, I know he got benched last week throwing 2 picks, but first off, his completion percentage was still all right. Right? Go back the previous 2 weeks. The previous 2 weeks, he was a combined 43 of 60, 552 yards,
amazing.
5 touchdowns, 1 interception. I would argue he's a top 3 quarterback in this league.
Lavert Hill has completely decimated this entire city of Las Vegas.
So they send
his 2 interceptions.
What's really happening at Cashman Field? They send him out of there for nobody. Then they were thinking, okay, they are invested in Hundley. He's getting paid more than anyone in the league. Now, Jalen McClendon. He couldn't beat out Charlie Brewer at Baylor. I'm just so confused on what is going on in Las Vegas. JMark, please tell me you have an angle with your maybe your liquid lunch. You can see what Rod Woodson's seeing or something. I don't know. How is he not fired as a head? First off, if we're cutting Slaughter, Can we just cut Rod Woodson as a coach?
Well,
right
that's what I said about the XFL. The XFL doesn't fire coaches; they fire players. They fire quarterbacks and just throw them on the streets after games. It's the reverse of the other league, which I kind of love. Coaches and referees have all the power in this league.
That is true. I do kind of like that.
You know,
make it make sense, buddy.
It doesn't make sense. All I can figure is Rod Woodson's having too many liquid lunches, hanging out in Vegas with the hookers or something. I don't know, because it doesn't make any sense at all. Why don't they roll with Hundley? I mean, that's the guy that they supposedly had their eye on since before the season started. They didn't know if he would be available. He decided he was going to be available and would play for him. They were all excited about that. He gets benched for Perez. And now you ship Perez out and you don't even start the guy that you were all excited. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Also, Dallas or Arlington, I'm sorry. This Perez trade happened on Tuesday morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bob Stoops saying he will not be playing this week.
That's amazing. Why? Well, I mean, he's San Antonio quarterback. He learned it that day.
They cut Slaughter their starter.
Right. I mean, what is there to learn?
Oh,
you guys haven't scored 10 offensive points all year. What's to learn? You know
so
what?
Do they start
Vegas' plays. We don't give a shit. Receivers will pick up on it. Who cares?
Do they start Plitt or do they start Kevin Anderson?
They activated
watch them come
Anderson. They activated Anderson. They didn't announce who was starting, but I'm assuming it's Plitt. But watch it be Anderson now,
right?
And watch him tear it up. And it's like, well, why did we trade for Perez?
Right.
You know what I mean?
My theory on Perez, that I said before the show, is this might be a Hundley call because this is the first ever.
I make more money.
Right.
You put me in or I walk.
Well, and it's a Saturday morning game, as we'll get to in Vegas, which is the first, like a 10 a.m. kickoff in Vegas. After Hundley's in Vegas on a Friday, he knows what his Friday night's going to be. It's actually responsible of him. Listen, I'll catch you second half, make him a first snap starter, an FSS, and then I'll catch you around noon. How about that?
Oh man, I mean, this news. I mean, I'm dumbfounded. I don't know for both Arlington and Vegas. I mean, Arlington.
Well, Arlington, I get. Why
they got Vic Bolden too, which I still don't understand the signing process. Shouldn't it be the worst team would have the first pick?
Yeah,
because I would assume. Well, I shouldn't make that assumption, but I would assume Terrell Buckley would be like, "We want Vic Bolden," right? And if not him, then I would assume because remember Arlington was in the playoffs if the season had ended yet last week. Then San Antonio would have had a shot. Vegas would have had a shot. You telling me all those teams just whiffed, or is this the league just trying to say, hey, Arlington's going to make the playoffs. We want them to be somewhat respectable. Yeah. I mean, this reeks, right?
Absolutely. And
this might be a flaw in the fact that these spring leagues owned by TV networks like USFL or this league owned by like everyone owns every team.
Right.
That kind of takes away the point of like the competitive balance of saying like, hey, I'm not sending you Luis Perez. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Hey, fucking look, you might not start for us, but I know how good it is. Better than that shit you have over there. No. And with a league where you have everyone that is running it, and they can say, no, move this piece here because it's going to make our ratings go better there. I don't know. But I have a future on Arlington, so keep doing it, Rock.
I mean, it's great. It's great news for Arlington future. For sure. I mean, everyone loses. It does seem very, especially in the time where USFL is doing their Hollywood, attacks on the XFL, and the Rock is coming back with where we are. We're not hard to find. Actually, you are getting hard to find. Are you on FX?
I haven't watched FX since fucking. You are a little hard to find.
Yeah.
Rock.
Where am I going to stream you here? The ESPN Deportes or?
Just wait for the script to be that Vegas is going to be down by, let's say, 14-20 going into half this week. Then they put Hundley in, and that's why that's our guy. He leads the comeback and wins. So if they're down big, get your in-game bets in.
Right.
I see what you're saying there. Let's get to the action.
Yeah.
But before we get to the action, I want to tell you, fine people out there, that the XFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by WynnBET. Yeah, WynnBET is the official online sportsbook of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, and WynnBET is now active in Massachusetts and a ton of other states. Be on the lookout for WynnBET's Win Hour each Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. During WynnBET's Win Hour, marquee games of the week will have better odds on WynnBET, giving you a larger payout opportunity. And, Final Four, March Madness is here. So many ways to win on the big dance. Sign up today, receive a special offer. Bet $100, get $100. Limited to state availability. And, of course, for our DGens only, if you hit the biggest long shot parlay of the week, you get $1,000 free credit. There's so much to choose from, and all you have to do is head over to winbet.com or download the WinBet app. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions. WinBet.com. Must be 21 or older. Present state where WinBet is available. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. We're also brought to you by the SGP Masters. Yes, looking to hang out with Stacking the Money Green and Real Money Kramer at Stadium Swim and watch the biggest golf tournament in the world. Brett Hundley might even fucking be there, all right? You can win a 3-night stay at Circa Las Vegas to hang out with the guys. The contest is completely free to enter. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/golf party. And even if you don't win contest, you can still get the discount on your room using promo code SGP15. Also, this Saturday, what are you doing? You're watching the Final Four because we know that's what people do this time of year. Well, you might as well watch it with us because we are going virtual. Yes, come hang out with the guys, myself, Stacking the Money, Real Money Kramer on the Sports Gambling Podcast YouTube channel for the entire Saturday of Final Four action. We'll do live bets, prize giveaways, and much, much more. Subscribe to youtube.com/Sports Gambling Podcast and get ready to tune in this Saturday. And as always, let it ride. All right, guys. We got action. Friday night football. Shout out to Nick Fortune, who says, I'd rather hang out with Colby and listen to his rants about what really grinds his gears. Well, Rod Woods would be one of them right now. High on my list.
That's a good segment.
High on my list there.
Here's what's grinding my gears.
Guys, we got Friday night football. They finally
Friday night.
They listened to us.
Permian Panthers, Odessa style. I love it. They're leaning in. Let's do it.
Get down there at that Waffle House in Odessa, Texas.
Billy Bob Thornton.
Seattle Sea Dragons taking on the Arlington Renegades. Some have said that Billy Bob Thornton can play quarterback for this fucking Renegade team because no one else can. Sea Dragons are laying a cold 4.5, CJ. They didn't cover against Orlando.
I know.
The over-under's at 37.5. Arlington's plus 165 on the money line, which, I kind of thought not bad if Perez is playing, but he's not playing. Are you kidding me? I'm all over Seattle here. They didn't cover the last week. They're gonna fuck up Arlington. Arlington's offense is terrible. They have the worst offensive line in the league, and they can trade for as many skill position players as they want. They can help them out, David Stern style. As long as you don't get an offensive line, you ain't going anywhere. All right. And I have a future in Arlington, so I can say that stuff. All right. Give me Seattle minus 4.5. I'm also going to play the over. I don't know, though. Yeah, I'll play the over. Give me here it is, 28-10. JMark, what are you doing here?
What is that total? Is it 37?
37.5.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also all over Seattle on this one. Arlington's a mess right now. Plitt does not scare me as somebody who can beat Seattle. And I think, we've seen Seattle's offense be a little mediocre, dare I say. They've been a little slow compared to the first 3 weeks. I think this is where they kind of get back on track and really open it up a little bit more. So, yeah, I agree. They're going to smoke them.
CJ?
Well, call me a contrarian. That's it. That's all I have for us. No, I think I have not. I think Seattle, with all their victories, have been. I'm going off the Colby Dant yardage only power rankings.
The defense has been playing all right.
Are plummeting. Seattle's plummeting with all these victories that do not look impressive. The defense is looking great. That's why I like the under in this game. I think that's some. Although if the offense was okay last week, not as good as I thought they would be versus Orlando. That's the weakest defense in the league. That's supposed to be your get right. If they didn't exactly get fully right against Orlando, I don't see it happening on a Friday night in Arlington. I think they're going to lean into this high school Texas football Friday night vibe at the old Chuckalaw Stadium up there. And there's another thing. I don't believe that Perez isn't going to play this game. I see a first snap starter situation. Like I said, Perez run Vegas's plays. Who gives a shit? It's got to be anything better than they do. I think Seattle does win the game, but I'll take the 4.5 points.
Maybe they're doing that little competitive advantage there. No, he's not playing this week.
Right.
And then boom, he comes out there looking like Johnny U.
Now see if they tweet it out like Vegas. Because I don't believe any of this information anymore. And like I'm glad this story and I complained about that with the San Antonio news that came out last week. Like the news that happens between Wednesday and game time from our show till kickoff is monumental. It's not like a guy's ankle injury. Like, oh, we fired our quarterback. We hired some guy from the fucking European League. We've changed our entire offense and we're relocating cities. Like, what? How is this happening? And then they go win the game. And it's not like any other sport. Like, oh, well, a new quarterback, that's going to hurt him. No, it helps him. Only in this sport.
The quarterback news in this league has been fucking hilarious. All right. Now, whether it's Cole McDonald looking like a fucking all-pro when he comes in, or, they decide to go with Juwan Pass with San Antonio, and he only throws for 56 yards, but the offense actually looked better.
Right.
You go one by one. Dormandy is apparently he's out. He's never allowed to play in the XFL again. He comes back, and goddamn, if he doesn't look like the best, he might be a top 4 quarterback.
Yeah.
And then
for sure, absolutely. He's replaced Perez.
And then you got the Huntley situation with Perez, and all of a sudden they're going with some guy they just picked up, and he's going to start. You got Benkert coming in there. You got, each team has a crazy story with their quarterback play, with the exception of St. Louis, DC, and Seattle have had stability. The rest is a fucking shit show, man. Yeah. The rest is a complete shit show.
And I'm diving right into it. Give me Arlington plus 4.5. They maybe got a little jolt making that trade for or the league making that trade for them, as we should say. And then they're at the hub.
Bob Stoops definitely going to be at Dwayne Johnson's Christmas party. All right. Saturday morning.
Yeah, here we go.
The Brahmas taking on the Vegas Vipers. I don't even need to talk about this one. You guys know where I'm going. The line is 3. Vegas is favored by 3. You figured out. The over-under's at 39.5. You figured that out too. The Brahmas are plus 125 on the money line. Guys, this is a simple play. Rod Woodson should never coach anything again. I'm not even talking about you shouldn't be in charge of a fantasy football team. All right. JMark. I'm also taking the under here.
Yes.
I'm all over the under here. JMark, what are you doing?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. The under take San Antonio. Vegas is the worst run defense right now per game average in the league. So I really think San Antonio, it doesn't matter what the quarterbacks are doing. They can throw for 59 yards, 56 yards, whatever it was, and win the game. So, yeah, I'm all over San Antonio here.
Wow.
CJ?
I loved Vegas.
Please tell me you're taking Vegas.
I loved Vegas until that news came out today, which is, I'm almost devastated. I'm trying, and now I'm just forcing myself to not believe it. This is a first snap starter situation only. I do love that under. I don't understand that over-under. I said last week that I'm playing every Vegas over until further notice. Well, the notice came in last week. It's time to get off that. St. Louis put out the notice that's done with. And I don't know. Maybe the breakfast in Vegas game will switch it up on cocaine and gin, the famous song would say. I'm not rushing to the window to back San Antonio doing anything.
I am rushing to the. I think Benkert might even start this game.
Yeah,
this guy was just in the NFL like a couple weeks ago. I feel like that gives him an edge, even though I guess Huntley was on the same team. Actually, I think Benkert got Huntley cut, didn't he? I thought I read that.
I got to feel Huntley gets in there. I mean, he came in, he stepped in fine last week when he threw the touchdown to Love it immediately. It was a screen pass, but still, he looked reasonable out there.
Brahma's defense is good.
Brahma's defense is very good.
Huntley's picking the wrong day. They're picking the wrong day to start a new buck. All right, in this extreme football league.
Yeah. So I'm going to do it. Fuck it. Although I say Vegas, I hate to give. This is a to be determined bet because I want to see this line come down. There's no way this thing goes off at Vegas -3, right? With this news, and a guy who threw 4 touchdowns.
Get in there now. Take the points. Take the Brahmas.
Lock in Brahmas now. But I'll be taking Vegas just because we'll see what happens in the morning. Maybe that's how you get the road teams in Vegas. wake them up early, you know.
Are you going under too?
Oh, I'm definitely going under for sure. That's my favorite play.
Yeah.
Maybe of this whole slate.
Slam dunk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, I mean, I don't know what's going on with the Vegas Vipers. Stacking the Money Green reporting live here.
About time.
Tell me what you think of your Vipers.
Fan gang. No, Vipers are in trouble.
About time this network determined the power hierarchy. And thanks for bringing us our coffee.
Yeah, unbelievable. This is the way.
Right.
This is the way.
Finally, they know where their bread is buttered on this fucking network.
This is the way Bosworth felt in Stone Cold. People were bringing him fucking coffees.
That was amazing. Amazing delivery.
Sorry you don't have a liquid lunch. I'm sorry. We're working on.
I was going to ask where mine was.
Yeah, we're working on getting a guy in Iowa delivering coffee.
That would have been awesome. JMark, we got to get JMark wifey signed up, although if she's on board for that.
Saturday afternoon.
That was just assuming she would like to serve her husband coffee.
Who the fuck is this CJ
for
Sullivan?
A bit. It's for a bit, JMark wife. It wasn't for real. You can throw it in his face if you want. I don't care if you want to do
this. Isn't 1920 CJ Sullivan.
Well, then you can throw it in the face. That's how you do the bit. You know, that's hilarious. I just wrote it. Perfect. Lock it up. All right, let's go.
Saturday night, the DC Defenders. Are you gonna lock it up here because the best team? This is like they're like the 96 Bulls. They're like the 85 Bears. They're like the 72 Dolphins. The DC Defenders, I call them the Redskins. They're back. I got visions of Mark Rippon back there, aka Jordan Tamu. They're playing in Orlando against the LaGuardians and Terrell Buckley. Let's be honest. Defense still sucks. But damn, they can move that ball, baby. Normandy Beach is a covering machine. They covered for me 3 straight weeks. I ain't fading them here. Give me the 9.5 and the Guardians. Also, the over-unders at 45.5. And hey, Orlando's plus 350 on the money line. And I think if Orlando was able to win this game, or you know, if and correct me if I'm wrong, JMark, but if Arlington loses to Seattle on Friday, and San Antonio loses to Vegas, I think Orlando is still alive whether they win or lose this game, correct?
Yeah, I believe that is correct. The Guardians are eliminated with a loss and a Renegades win.
Yes, which that's not going to happen. So, look, here's what's crazy about the Guardians. And me and CJ were talking ourselves into this. Yeah. The next 2 weeks, they play the Renegades,
right,
and the Brahmas.
The only hurdle is this pesky DC Defender team,
or the final week
that's undefeated,
or the final week against St. Louis, where they might be resting the starters.
St. Louis is going to be Coach Tony Meatball will have him.
Give AJ McCarron's the weekend off with the kids. You know, guys, I'm all over Orlando, and I'm going to take the over on 45.5. They got me. I'm going in, even though DC I think is gonna, DC aired it out. I think great offensive coordinating. I thought great. They zigged when they zagged. Houston tried to stop the run. The air then opened up the run as Tamu threw for over 240. And I expect them to get back to ground and pound here early, but they're just a well-balanced team. So give me Orlando plus the 9.5, and I will take the over despite the fact DC could be running the clock extensively with this shitty Orlando defense. JMark, what are you doing?
I did forget to mention on the previous game, the Vipers are eliminated if they lose and Battlehawks and Sea Dragons both win. They will be eliminated from the playoff race, which they should be.
Yeah,
but
they're eliminated.
Yeah, which they should be. Why are
they not starting Hundley then?
Right, because they're looking at the future.
Right, I got to look down the road.
With how Orlando has been moving the ball, I don't know how you can't not take the 9.5.
Yeah.
Now,
I even saw 10.
I think DC wins this game, but I think Orlando stays in it, even if it's at the end when they get some silly 9-point play and cover this. I got to take the points here.
When you're getting 10, especially in the XFL or 9.5.
I even see that at plus 100. It's not even minus 110.
I know it's because it's moving up. I saw 10 at Bet Online. I don't think you're ever mathematically out of it. You can be down 50 to nothing. It's somehow like the way they run the system, you can just run it back. And
if he converts this 4th and 56, it's a 30-point play.
So we also got DC coming off the big Monday night victory versus Houston.
Short week.
Right? Short week. If ever there is a letdown in this league, they have the number 1 seed locked up.
And Storm and Normandy Beach is making moves.
Right.
All right.
Absolutely.
He is moving up the ranks of quarterback play in the XFL. You guys lean over or under?
Can we get a future price, by the way, on this Orlando? Is there one to find?
Yeah,
we got to find this up because
right now
this
Orlando,
is our great fucking play to drop
plus
out.
15,000. All right, so yeah, what is that? 150? No, yeah, 150 to 1. 150 to 1.
Oh, give that out to all of your clients.
What are you doing right now? Hop on over there.
Get it now because it's not.
Look, Terrell Buckley's won Super Bowls. All right, it wasn't coaching; he's playing. But clearly, the guy is he's evolving as a coach. The offense is moving. Defense was all right against Seattle. I'm just saying they pass the eye test. When you watch Arlington or like San Antonio play, you got to be honest. Orlando kind of passes the eye test as a better team.
Absolutely, 150 to 1.
They just can't win. Just got to learn how to win. Sometimes you got to learn how to win. And Storm and Normandy Beach is that guy that's going to lead you to victory. He's going to lead you to water in the desert.
Yeah. So I think we're all we're very excited for Orlando. This is all for clips to play when Orlando finishes the season 0-10, which is very possible.
You guys go over or under? What are you doing here?
I mean, I know what you're saying about DC running the ball, but you still have to go over. It doesn't matter. Orlando's defense is so bad, and Dormandy's looking good.
Yeah.
I mean, DC.
I went over too.
I don't see how DC gets stopped actually when they have the ball. I mean, no one's stopping them now anyway, let alone this specific of a defense. So.
JMark, what are you doing here in the over under?
Yeah, I like the over as well because I think Orlando's going to be able to score and there's no stopping DC. DC does lock if they win and Battlehawks and Seattle lose. Now, we don't expect those two teams to lose, but they would lock the playoffs.
Okay.
All right, well then, game of the week, I think, Sunday, 11 a.m. in Houston, Texas. The Roughnecks with a little QB controversy. They're laying 3 still. Living off that rep, playing all those Southern teams, beating the tar out of all those shitty Southern teams. They're laying 3. The over-under's at 43.5. St. Louis is plus 130 on the money line. I'm all over the Battlehawks. I think the North teams are better than the South teams, with the exception of Vegas. And I just think Houston is a little bit of fool's gold. If they start Cole McDonald, that's different. I don't think it's Wade Phillips. He always starts the wrong guy. Try to start Tommy Maddox over John Elway. All right. I know Tommy Maddox, a bit of an XFL legend, being the only MVP to ever be in this league. But
the Tommy gun offense
with the LA team back in 2000. But he also did this with Rob Johnson and Doug Flutie. I can't trust this guy's decision making. That means he's definitely starting Brandon Silvers. Long John Silvers is not very good, and I think Anthony Beck, Tony Meatball, is actually impressing me.
He's all right. As much as I hate to
seem
say
a little disappointed.
As much as I don't like to admit it. This is where everyone's on board. I know the Colby, JMark are on board. You want to fade Houston. He loves the St. Louis Battlehawks. And the last week was very impressive with St. Louis. There's nothing to say.
Well, here's the thing I've learned about this league, and I'm curious your guys' thought on this take. Everybody is passing the hell out of the ball, right? And a lot of them are running the same systems. When you look at St. Louis and DC, they're the two that kind of are different. I guess you could throw San Antonio in there, but San Antonio is just not good at doing it. But DC and St. Louis established the line of scrimmage, I feel like, and they just look like a well-rounded team. Now Seattle is a good version of this crazy passing offense, but they still are a bit perplexing because, if they just don't make a lot of sense. Like if you look at the yardage, it should tell a tale. And I say this all the time, yardage, whether it's defense or offense gives up, it normally tells the tale of how your team is, right? Any level of football, right? And they're barely winning some of these games where they're outgaining teams by 200 yards and their defense is limiting them. The defense is playing really good. I think St. Louis and DC have an advantage by kind of being different than the rest of the league, the way they play the games. What do you make of that statement there, JMark?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you're right on there. These teams, as we said, that have success running the ball, they're not running that same offense where they're passing every single down. It's harder for the defense to plan, and it is showing that makes them the better teams in the XFL.
In a league where like quarterback play clearly has been taboo, right?
Right.
I think the more you can find ground success, it opens up your passing attack, especially like I don't understand why every single team, if I'm like, you put me in charge of Vegas today, I'm doing option read at least. I'm not saying triple option. I'm saying the option read, quarterback, handoff, and that includes throwing, right? Just stress the defense out some. It will make it so much easier for you. And no one in this league hardly does it. DC does it a lot. That's the only team that does it a lot. And they're fucking undefeated. Tell me I got something going here, CJ.
I mean, it's right out in front of you. I mean, you follow all the Twitter feeds, the option football. Let's bring it back. Veer option, anything
they're
we
not
can.
even
I mean,
doing
I
the
know.
traditional
Just,
option.
right.
They're doing like the Urban Meyer shit.
It's right there in front of them. I know. Well, it's a focus group with the kids and blame the TikToks. They want to see all the passing and the Madden games. And, they don't know what option is.
They don't want to see all these quarterbacks doing that passing because they're like,
Good
hey,
point.
I thought I had some with the Slaughter kid. Right? Their offense is shit.
It's funny. Yeah, and they just move the quarterbacks to different cities. Like, that's the problem. No,
Yeah.
that's not the problem. They're not. He's still going to be terrible over there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but I mean, I'm all over
Battlehawks.
I'm all over.
So I imagine you are as well, JMark.
Yeah, absolutely. When you break it down, even by the players, McCarron looks good. Hill looks good. Butler and Shepard look good. On Houston's side, since Kirkland went down, I mean, I know Burnett had that one big play that really made him.
That was kind of like a busted coverage.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, absolutely. So he had that one big play that made his stats look good, but they've not been effective running the ball the past 2 weeks. Their passing has been up and down. Obviously, they pulled Silvers and put Cole McDonald in there, which, yeah, he looked better, but do they keep him in? I don't know.
No, not a good sign.
He's too explosive. You see his plays?
Right?
Wayne Phillips goes, who's that kid? It's an explosive play. I don't want explosive players on my team.
Yep.
No,
yeah.
listen
So
to me. Right?
I will say one thing when it comes to busted coverage, and in the XFL, that's going to happen. You can't say as a disclaimer, well, that was a busted coverage. Yeah, I know. It's the XFL. There's busted coverages. That's part of the game plan. Well, they'll fuck up.
Yeah.
They'll come
and what's
run
crazy
into each other and you go deep.
is some of the teams can't even complete the pass on the busted coverage.
Right.
I think it was Vegas earlier in the year with Huntley, where you're just sitting there like, oh my God, he had a guy so wide open and he missed it. I don't know, man. I think I'm on the money line here. I think Battlehawks are going to beat him on the money line. I lean over, though. You guys want to go over here? Or what do you think? Under?
Well, I'm going to say one.
I need to know who's starting for Houston before I
don't.
commit to the over-under.
I really don't care who's starting for Houston. I think
you on the Roughnecks?
I'm going to go Roughnecks. I'm going to go.
I'm going hard with this team.
I'm going 3 dogs in Houston. Well, I think it's a pretty short number for Houston. That's for sure, because you're definitely buying low on them and selling high on these Battlehawks. I'm not quite ready to anoint Tony Meatballs just because they went to Vegas and had a buffet. I mean, let's not forget who these guys really are when they get outside their weak dome with 40,000 Ferguson protesting fans. We're talking. I mean, granted, they do not look good. So this is basically ignore what you saw last week, I'm thinking. But over, I think, is definitely a play. I am impressed with St. Louis's offense, and AJ. They keep improving each week.
Yeah.
Did Brian Hill get hurt last week?
Yeah, but I think he's going to play.
From what I saw, everything I've seen, anyways, yeah, they're not expecting to miss him.
And this is Houston's. I mean, yes, this is Houston. They've lost 2 in a row. At Seattle, that short game Thursday versus June Jones revenge game. Monday night at DC, the best team in the league, toughest environment to play outside the dome. They're finally coming home.
0-2 against the North, buddy.
Absolutely. They're 0-2 versus real teams.
0-3,
I get
buddy.
it. I get the power rankings. And this is the 3rd toughest competition they will have. But they are coming home of the short number -3. I'll give them a shot. As my only favorite of the week. I think I'm getting one against you guys on all of them except for Orlando. Of course, I went 0-4 last week. So Anyway, let's
SGP Sports Gambling Podcast saying defenders need to throw the ball more. Well, shit, after last week they committed.
They did throw the ball very well,
Yeah.
and they definitely. I think, why not this week versus Orlando?
We got Fred Durst in the chat who says, "Just run the ball against St. Louis, and you'll be rolling, rolling, rolling." Amen, Rod Woodson. Somebody get him out of Vegas.
And you
don't let him in Cashman fucking Field.
And you do it all with the rookie.
Yeah.
That was
all right.
my limp pun.
Although
I'm not, I will say you are right about Wade Phillips, and I was not reassured with all the mics of Wade Phillips' performance on that Monday night game when he burns a timeout on the one with DC has the ball on the 1 yard line just so he can get explained to him what happened, and it tries to uncall it, and the ref's like, "Yeah, no, we can't uncall a timeout, Wade." Well, come on, I don't want it then. Well, it's too late. We already gave it to you.
Earlier in the game was so great when he was like, "Can we challenge that?
Yeah,
can we challenge that?" And you get Blandino's going, "Somebody tell Wade he can challenge any play, any play." All right, let's get on over the DFS lineups. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the XFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Fantasy continues their March Madness College Pick'em, and it's a great way to get in on all the action, especially if your bracket is busted. Don't lie to us. We know your bracket's busted. All right, plus Underdog Fantasy has your favorite college basketball player props and great NHL and NBA daily games. Head over to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use that promo code SGPN for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. Let's get to this DFS action. I got a feeling my team is going to dominate this week. All right?
Yes.
And look.
If I had a DFS entry for every time Colby has said that.
Yeah, well, you probably do because you put in 500 fucking rosters.
He is a multi-entry.
All right. Look, here's what I'm thinking with my play here. I think I might pull a JMark and enter 2 rosters because I think one of them I got to put Benkert in. That's not going to be the one I'm going to give away today because I don't know that he's starting. And I want my clients out there to CJ. My clients,
all your clients,
that have been coming from back in 2000, back when I was sending out those newsletters in the XFL. Take Tommy Maddox and the LA team and the over. Quarterback wise, JMark, let's start with you. What are you doing at the quarterback spot?
Going with my guy, you can always seem to count on him, AJ McCarron, playing for the kids and your DFS lineups. He's done very well, 22.2 fantasy points per game. He just seems like one of the safe options to get you good fantasy points.
Always going with the Battlehawks. CJ,
I know, ridiculous.
There's a player that's been lighting up, the extreme football world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's the biggest thing to come in, the biggest thing in really since Swiss cheese. You know what I mean? And that is Quentin Stormandy Beach, baby.
For JMark's grandpa.
Yes, $8,000. Bargain shop.
Absolutely.
Greg Williams probably going to have a pick 6 in this game, but look, you got to just dive into it because he's still going to throw for at least 250. All right? They might be down a lot of points. They're going to be firing that ball all over the field. Normandy Beach is fucking fantastic. CJ, tell me why I'm a genius.
Well, of course. First of all, you're a genius together because we came up. We already gave out our 150 to 1 Orlando, and it starts on Saturday.
Oh yeah,
it starts Saturday. That parade starts Saturday with their out.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to hope for an outright. I want to go with you on the other side of that though. With JMark's favorite quarterback, Jordan Tamo, he's only 8,500. And versus Orlando's secondary is an absolute. I mean, he looked great last week. Granted, he had all the time in the world, which he'll still have. If they want. If the only question is if they want to throw the ball. That's the only desire, which they usually don't. They kind of had to last week, but I love him this week anyway. At 8,500.
So you're telling me no one's playing the brand new starting quarterback Jalen McClendon, who threw for 700 yards. in the Big 12. All right.
It's Division I football. It's the Big 12. It ain't either murals.
No one's playing the new guy. No one's playing the
He's
new
a
guy.
first snap starter only, I believe. I mean, I can't just do it.
First snap starter. He can still tell his mom, look, I made it into the pros. Running back wise, JMark, you're leading the way here on this one. What are you doing here?
Yeah, so I already said that Vegas is allowing the most rushing yards per game. So I went with Jacques Patrick. Had a pretty good game last week, and I think he's going to have another good game.
Love Jacques Patrick.
It's the most beautiful sight these eyes have ever seen. That one's a little low. But
how much does he cost this week?
$5,700.
That's crazy.
Yep. He's on my roster.
That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, he's on my roster. So,
especially with Ballage out for the year.
Yeah,
he's
got a roster.
Guy,
especially they actually seem to be the hippest as far as like they put Juwan Pass in. All of a sudden, the defense has to sweat a little bit more, even on the incompletions. Even though I know Pass wasn't super accurate, doesn't matter. It stresses the defense more, and it gives you two options to run the ball. So, I think they like. I know they might go Ben Kurt. I think you gotta roster the run game, especially going up against a Vegas team that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
You don't have him on your team?
I was just about to put him in.
It's not too late.
At it,
it's not too late, buddy.
I won't though. I won't back it off just because I love Patrick. He's my guy. He's my number one pick in the fantasy league. But I'm a little weary of that breakfast in Vegas game. I don't trust anyone getting up for this 10 a.m. in Vegas off a Friday out there.
You're gonna stay up.
Yeah.
CX.
I like to lock in on some games, and that's not the game I want to.
How extreme is that? You just fucking take a 5-hour energy.
Right. Blame it on the Adderall.
Okay, so I mean, I guess I'll punt it back to you because I have that same running back. But hold on, did you give away
my running? I did not. My running back is a JMark specialty, Max Borgi at 8,900, and going against who I think is the worst rush defense, the St. Louis Battlehawks. They give you that.
They are really bad.
Houston.
But the problem is that they run the run and shoot. They never commit to the run.
I hope at least at least Houston will look at, unlike Woodson, has seen a film of one game that St. Louis has played this year, and Max Borgi's great.
I don't know. Wade Phillips might look at last week's stats and be like, "God, their run defense is great. They shut down the run." No, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Borgi's been scoring touchdowns. They like to get him involved. They do little...
And they gotta get back right with quarterback inconsistency. Max Borgi's gonna have a big game, I think.
Well, I like it. JMark, back to you on your second run. Do you have a second running back?
No, that was my only running back. I was trying to find a way to work in Brian Hill or Abram Smith, but I couldn't figure it out. So,
I mean, Abram Smith's on my roster because, in my opinion, if you're submitting a DFS lineup without Abram Smith,
it's your cheap quarterback that allowed that. I got McCarron cost me $11,100.
Why would you do that when Dormandy Beach is a fucking rising star? You know what I mean? Like Dormandy Beach, there's a good chance he's gonna. I would assume that he's starting for the 49ers this year.
Brock Purdy will argue that.
By the way, I don't know if I brought it up with you, JMark. You heard the story though, how Dormandy did get back and how it was basically Francois making this thing up about him giving away the plays and all the confusion.
I missed that.
Oh my God. There's an article on The Athletic that breaks it down pretty great. I guess he was telling his boy that he's not going to be starting week 2. It was already set.
Francois heard him because they're doing the dual queen beds.
Right. Francois heard him. Well, he had that terrible game, and then he did tell them that like he wasn't starting, and they ran to their defensive coordinator. Hey, we've been scheming for the wrong guy. Francois starting, or Lynch. And then Francois, after completing 6 passes for 8 yards that week, threw him a group text that Dormandy gave the plays away, and then he got fired. Questions unasked. And it was basically him just making an excuse for his bad game.
Is Francois still in the league?
I think he might still be on that weird practice squad. Apparently has Baylor backup quarterbacks on it. It's just sitting in a pool somewhere at a Greyhound station.
Yeah, I mean, chaos, absolute chaos.
Yeah, so that's why we love Francois too. Dormandy, because he is fighting for the hardest thing you could possibly fight for, and that is to scrub your Google history,
Yeah.
your Google result.
Because look, he's got kids just like McCarron's, and right now they know him as a cheat.
Yeah, if you you Google Dorman, the quarterback, and cheat comes up, and you got to fight.
He's right next to the Black Sox. All right, he's right next to Shoeless Joe Jackson.
So every game he plays, he's trying to fix that.
I got Abram Smith though, but who's your second highest price guy then?
So my first wide receiver, Darius Shepard, stacking him with AJ McCarron. Last 3 weeks, he's been over 20 points. He's been kind of a go-to, and I think St. Louis is going to be able to move the ball. So give me Shepard.
Nice.
All right, decent play. Had that 2-point conversion a week ago, right? Did you go Abram Smith, CJ?
I did not go Abram Smith, but
couple of rookies here.
I know. Listen, I'm the one who had him for 200 yards, and that's why I wanted to clean then. I'm not going to chase those. I know it's never going to get that good again for me. So let me find my new
fair
gold. And now I'm going Google history. I'm not going to go with Dormady, but I'm going to go with all of his. I'm going with all of his weapons in this game against the number 1 team in the league. I went Cody Latimer for 8,000. He's only got 33 catches for 400 yards, which is like top 3.
He's a fucking machine.
He's unbelievable. He's a beast out there. And for him to be priced at $8,000, I mean,
$8,000?
Yeah, that's a steal.
Maybe I should drop Jakor. No, I don't know.
I mean, they got Landon Akers at 8,400 for crying out loud.
Make a lot of sense.
Like, I know he's just back now, but I mean, that's ridiculous.
Make a lot of sense. Shout out to Chad G. For the love of goodness, gentlemen. I am trying to work, and it's extremely hard with all this laughing from shenanigans.
Welcome to the XFL Shenanigans Show.
It's a great pub. In every city, there's a great shenanigans. JMark, what are you doing with your second wideout?
I got Latimer as well. 8,000. He's a beast. So give me Latimer.
Guys, my top guy, Ja'Cory Pearson. I'm not going to get rid of him. Okay, he didn't get as many targets last week.
Right.
Taking the week off down in Orlando, going to see Disney World. You know what I mean? Just taking the week off. He's got to be back in the mix against Arlington. Arlington can't get a first down, so Seattle's going to have the ball a shit ton. I know Arlington's defense is decent, but still, time of possession will go all over Seattle, which means more targets. Ja'Cory Pearson is the play. At 11, I'm paying up 11.5. Not a problem. All right, not a problem if you want to win some money this week. Any of you guys roster Pearson?
I did not, which is pretty bad because he is a he's a beast. I was thinking Blake Jackson, but I'm telling you, that Friday Night Lights, watch out. But Pearson is as gold as it gets.
Yeah. I mean, come on, let's not kid ourselves. Sometimes you got to play. When the season where Jerry Rice had 22 touchdowns, they probably thought after week 3, maybe we should back off him.
Mm-hmm.
He scored 3 last. No, he does this every fucking week. Who's your next highest price wideout?
Well, it was Martavis Bryant, but I'm going to but that was before the news that came out today. And I was going with it, which I kind of like because he was hurt the last couple games and he kind of came back. And I was thinking Hundley might do an NFL connection with him in that game. I was going to go with Vegas, but now, I mean, ridiculous news out of that thing. So I did take him out, and I'm not afraid to double up with Orlando with this Google redemption tour, and I'm going to go Charleston Rambo at 8,000. And so I'm spreading Latimer and Rambo out.
Nothing is over.
And breaking this shit on.
You just don't turn it off.
You just don't turn it off, and that's why CJ Sullivan is rostering Charleston Rambo.
Yes.
All right. CJ Sullivan drew first blood. Not me. What do you, JMark? What do you do? What do you make of his Rambo play? I think this fucking Guardians offense is all of us. You know what it reminds me of is the Greatest Show on Turf. Greatest Show on Turf.
I mean, it's. I don't see any difference. I don't see any differences.
What are you doing here, JMark? What do you think of his Rambo play, and what are you doing with your third wideout then?
Yeah, I like the Rambo play. Somebody that we thought all year or from the beginning of the year was going to be really good, but has really come on as of late. So definitely like it. I went with Lucky Jackson for DC.
That's my guy. We're seeing eye to eye here. This guy, are you kidding me?
I know.
This guy should run for fucking president.
11
This guy's
targets.
incredible. This guy's incredible. I like when they interview him. I mean, look, I don't like the in-game interviews, but Lucky Jackson, He's killing. He's knocking out the interviews. That's what I'm saying. He should run for mayor of DC. Better than Marion Barry.
Reggie Barlow was hilarious for the quotes because you could tell there. I'm like, all right, get some quotable quotes on there with these interviews. What do you think of Lucky Jackson?
He's like looking at his play sheet. Like Lucky is he's
right.
good. He's
like Lucky Jackson. He's lucky. He's like, well, not lucky. I mean, he works very hard. He's like, but that's what that's the quote they want me to say.
I love Reggie Barlow though.
I love Reggie Barlow.
And in my opinion,
I love football too. What was
that? Honestly, college football, or I saw people lobbying for the NFL. Well, look, he's got a background in college football. In my opinion, the guy should be a head coach on a college level somewhere.
I mean, he's proven it. I also went Lucky Jackson, by the way. If you want to go through that in a flex, 5 for 136 and a touchdown. I mean, he was amazing.
I think I have music for that. Let me see if I can find that on the fly right now.
That's my only stack with Tambo. But I'm all over that game itself. Just that whole Orlando DC game. I love.
Normally, when we get three players agreeing, I would play music, but I feel like everything. Here we go. I got it. Yes, we all have Lucky Jackson. Everyone's getting lucky this weekend. Let's go.
I don't understand. JMark, maybe you can tell me. Why is he priced $700 cheaper than Josh Hammond, the other receiver for DC? Like, I like Hammond, but like Lucky Jackson's a clear number one where they use him in so many ways, and he's just by far like double the production of anyone else in the passing game.
Well, I think the simple answer is the books don't care about the XFL.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
Guys, I was thinking about a Vic Bolden play here. The problem is I thought we were going to see Perez at quarterback.
Come on.
So, for my final roster spot or receiver wise, I'm going back to Orlando's. Now, how did Lenore do for you guys the past couple weeks? You guys played him in a couple. Last week you played him. He didn't do much though, right?
Not much.
No.
All right, I'm sticking with Vic Bolden. I'm
sticking
with Vic Bolden. He's only $3K. This guy was the MVP of the United States Football League. He won he was right there. He won the Freedom Cup.
Yeah.
All right, and we're just supposed to ignore that? I get it. He's down there in Arlington, but he won the Freedom Cup. And 3K. Let's go.
I love it.
Let's go. Who's your final wideout, JMark?
I got Travell Harris of the Roughnecks. Was just trying to see who I could fit in with what I had left. He's had some good games. 2 of the last 3, he's been over 10 points, had that 20-some point game. And like I said, they've been hurting without Kirkland, and they're still kind of waiting for somebody to really step up. So
he's definitely the replacement as their number 2. I mean, he's been good. I've been rostering him a couple weeks in a row, but I think he'll have a big game. Wise to go against your Battlehawks.
Who's your final wideout, buddy?
My final is and I went to a clear XFL motivational style player, and that is a man who was cut and then re-signed during the same week. Well, I love that's what XFL does to try to motivate people. All right, you're on the streets. All right, come back. Sorry, we were just joking. Are you at the bus stop yet?
You already left. Don't worry. We'll catch you up.
Don't worry. We'll send you another bus. That's Jalen Tolliver for San Antonio. I played him. My big fantasy week, he killed me. He gave me a goose egg when I could have used him to cash out for big money. Then they wound up cutting him. He was coming on till then, so I played him for a reason. And then they signed him before the week was over. Like, I mean, that's XFL. I love it. So I'm gonna go with that motivation, and it doesn't hurt that they're playing Las Vegas in the morning. So I mean, that defense is just an absolute
true shit.
An absolute sieve. So 6,400 cut and re-signed, or hit the
signed, sealed, delivered.
Playing for his livelihood. Give me signed, sealed, and delivered. Oh yeah, Jalen Tolliver.
Defense, JMark. If you pick the same defense as me, I'm convinced you've been looking at my notes here. Did you hack into the mainframe?
Or have you been looking at my notes?
Yeah, it's true. True.
That's a good point.
I'm fading Arlington. I picked the Sea Dragons.
Yep.
Play the music.
Easy play.
Play the music. 3,900 is a lot. I mean, lock it up.
Especially they're not playing Perez.
They're not playing Perez, and Seattle's defense is playing great too.
Yeah,
I just couldn't imagine, Perez is one of the best players in this league, whether you like it or not, JMark. And This would be like, this would be like, I don't know, like who's an NBA player that gets traded like that, and then they're just like, nah, we're gonna rest him a couple games.
Yeah,
rest him a couple games. We don't need him. You're battling for the playoffs right now for the road to the X trophy, right?
Let him get adjusted.
Come on. All right, that does it. We all have the same defense. Folks, subscribe to the XFL Gambling Podcast. And also remember, subscribe to the USFL Gambling Podcast, because guess what? Tomorrow night, we got a new episode dropping. The road to the Freedom Cup starts tomorrow. We're already on the road to the Extreme Cup right here. So subscribe to both. Give us a follow on Twitter at XFL Gambling Pod.
Yes.
And subscribe, youtube.com, XFL Gambling Podcast. Subscribe to all of our stuff.
Yep.
I host the college football experience, the college basketball experience, college baseball experience. CJ, the Bottom Line Bombs podcast just went live. I highly recommend this thing. Just get on over there.
It's coming on after this too. If you want to head over to my YouTube,
come on,
watch it live. Again with this.
Some of the people said they're at work. What are you doing really?
All
right. Like you need to be watching the Bottom Line.
Even
Bombs.
better, you got Bottom Line Bombs coming up in 10 minutes.
So check out that pod, and also the Old Fashioned Football Podcast. They got its own feed. JMark and his wife down in whiskeys and talking about Justin Fields' potential. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Honestly, check out both feeds. They're fantastic. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. Remember that Final Four watch party Saturday. Get the SGPN app. It's free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. And come talk about all these, alt football, whatever, really. You can be a fucking game of badminton. All right? Anything. Hop over there in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. I think you will dig it because we have just a great community over there. And I'm doing a lot of things to buy time right now. All right. And look, all right, till, Monday, I think. Sunday night or Monday. Sunday night, probably. Mm-hmm. This is the XFL Gambling Podcast. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
X marks the spot. X marks the crossroads. Two straight lines crossing over in the middle. That's the letter you must see to find the treasure or the clue, or the X-ray machine that's looking right inside of you. X is the letter without which one could not do. X marks the spot.